and lowest, and average. Remember, anything that goes in the chat will be a little document. I can always delete that if it's anything embarrassing. Okay, so highest, lowest, and average, we're going to be entering. We're not going to care about highest and lowest and average of everything, so we'll be entering a formula there too. And we might as well, while we're down here in the lower left corner, let's go ahead and rename our sheet. Right-click, rename, or just double-click on it and start typing. The name is going to be salary report. You can hardly read it on my screen. I'm double-clicking on that tab and typing salary report. Double-click, and you can edit the name. You can always right-click, rename, but it does the same thing. Right-click, rename, just highlights that, and you can replace that. So we've named the text, and I've already saved it as line last name EX2. Now it's time for the basic formulas. As we come back up here now and enter the formula only for one person, Benny Altor, right here for the gross pay. Now I bet you can guess what the formula would be for gross pay. It's simply how long they worked times, times hourly pay rate. To start a formula, we type the equal sign. That means, okay, Excel, get busy. It's time for you to do the work. And I could type D4, but better to click to make sure that's the one I want to multiply by. The multiply is the star symbol above number 8. Shift number 8. D4 times their pay rate is what we call their gross pay. I hit enter to finish the formula. Remember, don't start clicking anywhere else. Hit enter, and now Excel does the calculation. To verify that that formula is there, I can click, see it up there, or double click, and I see the formula. Yeah, that's the formula for that calculation. And it highlights where it's getting its numbers from. Remember, whenever you're inside of here editing, either hit escape or enter to make sure you don't make changes to it. Now the tax, something that everyone says is, well, for you, it's probably free for the little amount of money you make. But when you're out there in the working world, this is where the government gets its money. Anything the government does is not free, although they like you to think it's free. Tax is how the government pays for it. Everything. And we're starting a formula. I forgot to type equal. Equal. And the formula here is a special formula. I'm not going to try to reason what this formula is. It's listed here on page XL 2-9, but I'll just enter it for you. It's a formula that the government just gives us in their tables. I can type 0.26 or 0.26 times, there's my star again, and in parentheses, it's my gross pay. Well, instead of typing the word gross pay, I click where gross pay has been calculated already for me. It's gross pay subtracted. I'm subtracting something from my gross pay when I'm multiplying by 0.26. My dependents, so it's my number of dependents times a particular number, 22.16. So this formula means 26% of my pay is federal tax. But before I calculate how much I'm paying, I subtract some money from based on how many children I have. Not much. $22 is subtracted from the taxes for each child. So this is a really fake formula. They do subtract a lot more for dependents, and it's a much more complicated formula. But basically, this is saying my tax is 26% with a little bit taken decrease of tax based on my children. Hitting enter shows me the formula. And I will make sure to have chat up. So if you have any questions, since I can't hear you for some strange reason today, I will have to make sure I'm watching your chatting. Okay, so that's the formula for the tax that I'm going to, that this particular person is going to pay. See the formula? There it is. If you need help with the formula here, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and copy that formula, and I'll copy it up into the chat just to make it easier for you if you need to reference that. There it is. It's in the chat now. So that's my formula for federal tax. Hitting enter, and it calculates. State tax is a little simpler formula. It's just 5.5%. So it's equal to 0.055. That's the same as 5.5%. I could have actually typed 5.5 and the percent symbol, but in the book they're using the number. And I multiply that by, again, my gross pay. And I'll copy that formula and put that one in the chat. That is my state tax. And hitting enter completes the entry of that percent. Now, what is my tax percent? Well, it's my two taxes added together.
What did you just do there for state tax?
Divided by gross pay. That will give me a fraction, but I'm going to have it display as a percentage. So we'll get the percentage part figured out. First, we have to say Excel, calculate my taxes added together, totaled, divided by my gross pay. So again, an equal sign, and I start a parenthesis because I'm going to add my two taxes together. Federal plus state. Put them together in parentheses. Doesn't matter the order that I click on them. And I love the point and click. I recommend highly the point and click. It helps to avoid errors. And I divide by now the gross pay that I calculated already. That will be my right now we're just dividing. It's just a fraction right now. To make it a percent, all I do is click on the cell, and on the home tab, click the little percent up there. That basically says, Excel, I'm calculating 0.30, but display it as percent. Remember, I'm displaying the format of it. The number mathematically is still the same. And
how
I can
did you get the
decimals that I see to 2. I usually like 2 decimals. By clicking up here, increase decimal to 2 places. There I have my calculation for tax percent. We're going to come later and put these guys in currency format. Might as well do that now because we're dealing with numbers here. Let's go ahead and put, instead of currency, let's at least put comma format. So I get two decimals with commas on the thousands place. Maybe in the book we'll see that they want us to turn it into currency, but I hate seeing that dollar sign everywhere. It kind of gets noisy visually. So I usually like the comma format. Net pay, let's see. Well, that's probably my gross pay subtracting both of my taxes gives me what I have left over. So that's what net pay is. What's left over? So an easy way, I'm going to do it the easy, well, maybe, I think this is the easier way. In the book, they put them in parentheses, but basically my gross pay minus my federal tax and minus my state tax. That's probably the simplest formula. If you want to put in parentheses, you can see the formula on page EX2-9, but that gives me the right number. There's my net pay. Notice it's putting it in comma format because these were in comma format. So it kind of guesses for me. And let's make sure I didn't miss anything there. I think I've got it right. Gross pay, federal tax, state tax, tax percent, net pay. So these are the numbers for Benny. And before I copy, I make sure that I have the right formula. Come back and double click. I'm hitting the escape key now to get out of formula. Yep, good formula. Good formula, escape, double click, escape. Now chat if you need to see anything. Otherwise, all we do now, we're confident we have it right. I grab the fill handle and pull it down. It automatically puts in the right numbers for all of my employees. If I double click on any formula, I will see that it has moved down a row in its references. Everyone's paying about 30%. And notice people are paying a little bit more percentage because they don't have as many dependents. That's the only difference. If nobody had any dependents, or everyone had the same number of dependents, my tax percent would be the same because of the simple formulas they're using. In the real world, the federal tax is a much more complex formula that I think is a complete mystery even to the people that make laws. But we look up in the tax tables to calculate these. And every year they change the formula. I guarantee you they don't know why exactly. I'm suspicious why they change the formulas. Now, we have a few more formulas to calculate. We're not worrying about the display of the numbers yet. We're just filling in our formulas. And I use the point and click mode. That's the easiest way to do it. We filled that in, copied it down. And now we're jumping down to page EX2-15 where we're calculating those bottom numbers. We want totals in a few columns here. And we'll see which ones make I'm going to zoom out just a tiny bit here. Let's see, just so you can see the title. Hours worked. Is that an interesting thing to total up? In the book, they are totaling hours worked. So total hours worked. Remember, we can use the one at a time Autosum. Yes, I want total hours worked. And it calculates. Before I hit enter, I confirm, yes, those are the numbers to add together. Gross pay, the total. Actually, we want gross pay, tax, and state tax all added together to give me total hours. Remember, I can select all three and click Autosum, and it will do that for me as well. Don't panic when you see the hashtags. Just double click on the border of the column and it will auto fit. Double click, auto fit. So auto summed, if I want to see the formula, I see that it's doing the sum formula of those numbers. It escaped to get out of viewing the formula. And one last one, I want to see total net pay. Click, auto sum, and enter. And I'm just confirming by looking in the book, yes, I'm getting the same numbers they are. If I ever have a number wrong here, that means something here is wrong. Well, basically that means since that's all based on these numbers, these would be the numbers that I would have to fix. Everything else is based on formulas, actually, of all those three numbers. We entered hire date, even though we haven't based any formulas on hire date. All right, checking the chat. Oh, how did you find the tax percent? I have a question. All right, let's go back to that. Tax percent is, oops, double click. It's the two taxes added together, in parentheses, the quantity divided by my gross pay. So I will put that formula in the chat there. The two taxes added together divided by gross pay. And that's all assuming that you are on the same cell numbers as I am. And I should be in the right ones. I'm trying to make sure in the book that I'm on the same rows and columns. Sometimes you can accidentally get in the wrong place. Okay, so we have these calculations. Okay. You think it'd make a little bleep sound when you send a chat. I'm not hearing that either. So something's going wrong with Hangouts. I'm going to have to be testing that. I'll have Mrs. Manning test that. Let's see. Has Mrs. Manning showed up yet? I sent her an invitation. Now, if you see here, oh, I don't see her there. Sent her an invite. She said she wanted to come to class. Make class a little more entertaining for you. Okay, so we have that. Now we're doing a little bit extra numbers across the bottom. And again, we only need to do it for some of the cells. We want to see the percent, the totals. We got the totals. Now we want the highest, lowest, and average. And we want the highest and lowest and average for the dependence. Who has the most dependence and who has the least dependence? Just actually, what is the highest dependence? Well, let's see here. In the formulas up here, I have a max formula available. Max is equivalent to the highest of something. So let's click max and look at that. It guesses the numbers above me. I really don't care about this guy. Mathematically, he's the same as 0. But just to be clear, we only care about the max of those numbers. I'll still get the right answer if I include that one that it guessed. But equal max C4 colon C12 gives me the max of those numbers. And I hit enter, and I should see a 3 show up. Yeah, look at that, 3 shows up. And this time, instead of using the Autosum, I'm going to type in equal min. Notice as I type in a formula, it starts typing anything that began with min. And if I hover over some, or if I click on one, it'll give me a short explanation of what it does. But min is the one I want, and as we see here, it reads, returns the smallest number in a set of values, ignores logical values and text. So min, and then left parenthesis, I can now drag through the numbers that I want a min of. And I don't have to enter the closing parenthesis, it does that for me. And as expected, min, the 0 would be the min. And now the average, I'm going to use this guy again. The average of those, if I click average, I'm guessing it's going to choose the wrong numbers. Look at that. It's giving me the average of those. That's not the correct average. I want the average of those numbers. And now I hit enter. And it's giving me the average number of dependents. Not sure who cares about that. Someone has just told me, please put that in your calculations. Multiple decimals, I think I'm going to shrink that down to 2. But let's see if they have us do that right away. They do have a lot of pictures, and they get the average. And do they shrink it down? No, they leave it at multiple decimals at this point. Now that I have these correct, getting the right numbers from the right location, double clicking on them to just check. Now I can copy all 3 of those formulas to the rest of my columns. We're going to copy it all the way out to column J, because it makes no sense to give min, max, and average of higher dates. I'm copying out to all the way out to column J just by grabbing that fill handle. Let me do that again. Have those calculated. Grab the fill handle right there. Drag them out. A copy paste would also work. Control C, Control V. And one that I don't care about is the total of tax percent. It doesn't make sense to total tax percentages, so I'm going to come back to that guy and hit the delete key. We don't need to see him. It mathematically doesn't make sense. Now look at this guy. It does not treat these as percentages because remember I dragged from the left. If I want to have these appear as percentages, I can select them and come back to the percent symbol, and it turns that back into percentages. And let's go ahead and increase the decimal places, giving me the max percent, or the min percent and max percent. And I can confirm that, or sorry, max and min, 31.5, 30.43. So formulas, min, max, and average, and there are not thousands, there's hundreds of other functions available. If I ever want to explore what functions are available, I can always come up to the little F formula right there, and it gives me functions I can insert, and I can click for help on any function listed here. They're listed by category. There's a ton of functions in there for you to explore. Clicking on them shows what they do. If I want more detail about something that might be interesting, I click for help on this function, and it pops up a whole web page of what that function can do for me. So as you're learning Excel, or if you're confused about something, think you want to do something, you can explore what functions are available, click on help, and read lots of things about it. There's lots of parameters available. This is just one function. Look at a whole web page about that one function. As you do investing or work in business, learning these Excels, especially in the category of financial or statistical. There we go, financial. A lot of very interesting formulas. If you're going to be in business, these are the formulas you want to be familiar with. I doubt you have to have them memorized. Some of them are very important when you're doing mortgages and investments. Lots of great financial functions. And that's probably the functions that are used by the people making big bucks out there in their investments. They've learned about these functions. You can use them to determine what to invest in or whether or not you can afford something. Okay, we've done some really simple formulas. Min, max, average. Let's see what else they want us to do. And I'm checking chats. Looks like nothing there. Okay, so we've copied the formulas. I think that's all our formulas. Now it's all about formatting the rest. We're done entering values. Now it's to make it look pretty. Remember how we merged and centered? Let's go ahead and merge and center some things. Then we'll do the basic formatting and come back and do some fancier things. Now, before I start coloring things, I want to choose my colors. So I'm going back to my, where is my design? Oh, sorry, page layout. The page layout is my design. And there I can choose my theme. They would like us to choose the gallery theme before going further. It gives us a set of colors that are supposed to go together. Now my emails have been turned red. Emails I've clicked on have a different color, a whole set of colors. Now we can go ahead and color things and merge and center. Let's go ahead and do like we did before. We're going to merge and center all the way across to hire date. I have to zoom out a little bit. Clipboard engineering, select, drag across, merge and center right here on the home tab, merge and center right there. And we're going to give him a, oh, they didn't say what style. Wait, we're also going to give him a title style, which we did before. And that is over here in the title styles, or in the style, right? Where'd it go? There it is, title. Clipboard engineering. Salary report, drag through, merge and center. And give him, we're going to give him a title style, and then, yeah, we're going to give him a title style and then reduce the text. So title, and then decrease size by a little bit to make him a subtitle. Since we don't have a specific subtitle built-in style. It's title and then reduce the size. Now we come back to our headings across the tops of each column, and let's make those bold. Drag through, Control B, or click the little bold symbol there. The row headings, it looks like we want those to be bold as well. So let's go ahead, select through my row headings for my employees, all the way down to the row headings for these guys. Totals, highest, lowest, average, and make those bold. I'm going to do Control B this time. And let's see here. We want a border around the title. They decided, this looks good, but let's make sure we make this look nice. Both these cells, we'd like to put a border around the outside. And we're also going to color those cells. Notice how this is now A1. I see the address of any cell I have select shows up in my little address bar there. So this has essentially become A1 and A2, merged with all these others. I'm going to choose a background color for those with this guy right here, the little fill color. And we're going to choose a slightly purplish indigo accent 5. It looks darker now. If I click off of it, I'll see the actual result. Not only do I want it colored, I also want a border, just so you know how to do borders. Borders are right here underneath in the font section. And we're going to choose, I think we're choosing a thick outer border. Yes, thick outer border. No, just border. Outside borders, not a thick outside border, just a regular outside border. I actually like thick myself. And if you like thick, you can choose a thick outside border. You don't know how it's going to look until you click off of it. And you can just barely see a little thin black line. Remember, all these other lines that are showing, they're not going to show up in a printout. They'll only show up on our screen. This, now that we've applied it and have a border, it actually will show up in a printout. So we've got a border. We've got some numbers bolded. I've already gone ahead and made these in comma format of all our dollar figures. Average, we'll probably be adjusting the number of percentages there. Let's go and see what else we're going to apply. We're going to apply a style to the row 3. Although I've made it bold, we would like to apply a particular style. We're going to apply heading 3, and then we'll adjust it. So I'm going to select through these, apply a heading 3 style. That's going to wipe out anything I've done and replace it with whatever heading 3 is. Once I apply heading 3, I can also center everything in there within those cells. See, they're selected. And I think they'll look better if I have them centered. So I'm going to click center and see how everything lines up a little nicer, centered within those cells. And row 13, since these are totals, let's apply a total style to all those rows. And just so the line matches the end of the other line, I'll go all the way out to higher date in the totals row. And now I apply the built-in style total. Click off of it to see how it actually looks. Total style made them bold and put a little double border at the bottom. Things are starting to look a little better. Let's see what else we want to do now. Oh, and they would also like to, it's already made them bold, and A14 to A16, yeah, I've already made those bold, so we've applied bold to those. Now, for our hired dates and for centering of things, we want these dates here, we want those to appear as simple dates with a 2-digit year instead of the 4-digit year. Well, first let's center them by clicking here to center them. Or I don't know if Control E works anymore. Center those. But now we want to change the 2-digit year. That is nothing I can find here. I have to go a little deeper into the formatting to know how to adjust the date, a little finer control. So now we're going a little deeper into the expert settings. Underneath number, that tiny little box right next to number, that takes us into the special format cells dialog. And to make that more visible to you, let's try the magnifier. Let's see if the magnifier works today. Magnifier. And I don't see my magnifier. Where is my magnifier? There he is. Let's see if I can magnify that screen to let you show you what we want to do, and then I'll come unmagnify. What we want to do for our date is format it, not the default 3/14/2012. We want it to look like this. So by bringing up that format cells dialog and clicking on the extra formatting of it, now as I zoom out, we'll see the effect of it over here. Once I click OK, see how now it has changed my years to 2-digit. So remember how we did that? That number format dialog, pop that up, adjust anything there. And while we're here, look at all the other things I can do. I can actually customize the viewing of any other type of number. It's popping us to the date section because what was in those cells looked like dates to Excel. So it pops us right to the date format. Any other cells, we can do the same thing to. So Danny, when you were seeing the strange things happening, we did the comma format because it was somehow thinking it was wanting to do dates, because it was guessing what based on what you had typed in the European typing he thought you had.
Yeah,
now we come back over here and format the cells.
Oh, like
Remember
my
how
federal.
to get there. That little extra box right there. And all of these actually take us to the same box, just different tabs on that box. So if I go here, notice it just takes me to the font tab on the format cells dialog, which has all the tabs for different things. And there is all those formatting. So there's tons of things in here. Anything that you can't find on the ribbon, bring that format dialog up and you'll probably find it there. So now the dates are formatted and centered. And now we want to apply special accounting number format just to the top row of numbers and to the total row. Otherwise, we're going to put those in comma format. Now, dependents, that's not currency, but hours worked, pay rate, those are all dollar figures. And I'm going to control click on that one because that is also a dollar figure. And I put that now in currency format, or sorry, accounting format. Show us our little dollar sign there. And do the same thing down here by clicking, control clicking on other cells, and now putting in accounting format. Uh-oh, don't panic if you see hashtags. Double click to fit the column. And now I'm getting a decent looking spreadsheet. These are still a little goofy. I'm hoping we're going to fix those as well. But we're almost done. I don't remember if they wanted a graph in this one. Now, another thing we're going to do with these formulas, these numbers here, E4 to H16, all the way out to here, H16, we want these numbers to also show up as currency in a special format. Again, bringing up my special formula bar. Watch what we're going to do here. We're selecting a special number currency style. Let's see what happens. Selecting these cells, E4 to H16. Oh, I didn't go far enough. Yeah, we do want to go to the other way. E4 to H16. And I'm going to open up that special formatting table again. Zooming in on that for you. We're going to put that in currency format. And instead of showing negative numbers with a negative sign in front of that, we're going to do like many accountants do. They put a parenthesis, put the number in parentheses when it's negative. And now, clicking OK. We don't see anything negative, so we don't see the parentheses there, but they did shift a little bit. And I think we want to do one more thing to those with the number formatting. we also want to have a currency, put those in currency format and a symbol leading that, a dollar symbol leading that. And I click OK. No, we don't want the dollar symbol. Let me check again. I hate to see dollar symbols everywhere. Let me check the book again to get that right. Number, yeah, there we go. Now these guys, now we got these all in a good format. Now we're going to format these numbers right here. And then control select those numbers. These guys we're going to put in the floating dollar sign, currency style with floating dollar sign. What they mean by this is instead of the standard accounting format, we're going to use our dialog, put them in currency format with floating dollar sign. So what they mean by that in those cells is currency, dollar sign symbol, there's what it's going to look like. So it's not quite the same as accounting format. Just, again, to give you a little practice at something different. The default here, there's the accounting format like that. We want currency format. The floating dollar sign is showing up in a slightly different spot. See how it's right against the number. I'd rather be consistent, but they just want you to get some practice at that. All right. And we have our numbers formatted, looking better. I still don't like him. Let's see if we fix him. I don't like seeing 1,000 decimal points. Now, something new. Oh, look what time it is. We're going to have to stop here because the next thing we're doing, we're not quite done yet. We're going to do some very important thing here underneath taxes. We're going to do something called conditional formatting, and that takes some explaining to do. Read about conditional formatting. You're welcome to work ahead on that. I'm going to hit that next time because it needs some important explaining. So we're going to stop here. I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to turn off my microphone and listen to you if you have any questions. If you have any questions, I'm going to stop the recording now. I do not know why I've stopped hearing you. And the